After I paid for my wife's med school for 4 years, she served me divorce papers at her graduation party, saying, "You are not on my level, date someone like-minded." So I did. Now she won't stop begging. Sup Reddit. So I worked 60-hour weeks to put my wife through dental school. At her graduation party, she handed me divorce papers and told me to date someone like-minded. Funny how things work out when you stop being agreeable. I, 29 male, started dating my wife Lauren, 28 female, in college. Chemistry major meets pre-dental student at some random house party. Hit it off immediately. She was driven, smart, had this infectious energy about chasing her dream of becoming a dentist. I respected that. Loved it, actually. We got married junior year because we were young and stupid in love and it felt right. Those first couple years were solid. Late-night study sessions that turned into breakfast runs. Weekend road trips when we could afford the gas. The usual young couple stuff. Then dental school happened, and the person I married slowly disappeared into textbooks and 18-hour study marathons. But I figured that's what you sign up for. I switched from teaching to supply chain analysis because it paid better and had more stability. Someone had to cover rent, tuition, textbooks, groceries, car payments, insurance, and everything else that came with getting a dental degree. 60-hour weeks became normal. My hobbies went into storage. My own career ambitions got shelved. 6 years of that. The graduation party was on a Saturday in June. This was the big celebration her parents threw at their country club. Open bar, catered food, probably 200 people including her entire dental school class, their families. She pulled me aside, led me out to the garden area where it was quieter, said she needed to talk. I figured she wanted to do some kind of thank you speech, maybe get emotional about how we'd made it through together. Instead, she handed me a manila envelope. I opened it right there under the decorative lights her parents had strung up. Divorce papers. Everything filled out. Assets divided. She'd claimed the car, the furniture, even laid out a payment plan for me to buy out my half of the joint account. It was thorough. Professional. Probably had a lawyer draft it weeks ago. You're serious right now? At your graduation party? It's the perfect time, actually. Clean break. New chapter. I'm starting my practice in 2 months, and I need to focus completely on my career. You've been useful, I'll give you that. But I don't need a husband anymore. I need to dedicate everything to dentistry without distractions. Useful. 6 years of my life reduced to being useful. So what was I? Some kind of live-in scholarship fund? She waved her hand dismissively. Don't be dramatic. You knew what this was. I was always transparent about my priorities. Dental school first? Always. Now I'm a dentist and I need to start fresh. Alone. You can find someone who actually has time for the whole relationship thing. I never did. Her friends were watching through the windows. A few were smirking. They definitely knew this was coming. Meanwhile, my buddy Nolan was at the bar with this horrified expression, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. You planned this. Of course I planned it. I'm not an idiot. This way it's efficient. Sign the papers, we're both free to move forward. I'll be working 80-hour weeks anyway. You can go do whatever you want now. Date someone like-minded who isn't building a career. Win-win. She kept glancing back at the party, checking her phone. She wanted this conversation done so she could get back to celebrating. This was an inconvenient errand to her. That's when it really hit me. I'm not signing this. Her expression shifted. The condescending patience cracked. Excuse me? You heard me. I'm not signing anything. You want a divorce? We're doing this the real way. With lawyers, with full financial discovery, the entire legal process. That's ridiculous. I laid everything out fairly. You're getting exactly what you're entitled to. My share of what exactly? The apartment I've been paying rent on for 2 years while you studied? The car I put the down payment on 3 years ago? The furniture I bought before you even started dental school? She crossed her arms, irritation bleeding through. Half of everything acquired during the marriage. That's what the law says. Stop acting like you're getting screwed here. Great. Then we'll let lawyers figure out what everything includes. All of it. Every asset. Every account. Every dollar that moved during our marriage. Her jaw set. She wasn't used to me saying no to her. 6 years of being agreeable and supportive had made her think I'd just accept whatever she decided. You're being difficult for literally no reason. Just sign the papers and we both move on like adults. No. Fine. Have it your way. But this doesn't change anything. I'm done with this marriage, whether you make it easy or turn it into a circus. Your choice. She turned and walked back toward the party. I stood there holding the envelope, watching her rejoin her dental school friends. They were laughing about something, probably about how the soon-to-be ex-husband was being difficult about signing away 6 years. She came by the apartment the next afternoon to pick up some of her things. Showed up without calling first, probably expecting me to be out or too shell-shocked to deal with her. Instead, I was sitting at the kitchen table going through bank statements. I need to get some clothes and my textbooks. I'm going to stay here for a few more days, then I'll figure out where I'm going. I laughed. Actually laughed right in her face. What's so funny? You think you're staying here. That's hilarious. I just need a few days to sort things out. Not happening. Pack your stuff and get out. She walked past me into the bedroom. I kept my eyes on the laptop screen. 6 years of financial records pulled up in spreadsheet form. Rent payments. Tuition transfers. Every dollar I tracked because I actually paid attention to where our money went. 10 minutes later, she came back out with 2 suitcases. Look, I'll be out of your way. You won't even know I'm here. Actually, the lease is in my name. Has been since we moved in here 2 years ago. She stopped. What are you talking about? Exactly what I said. You never signed the lease. I've been the sole tenant for 2 years. You were just living here. That's ridiculous. This is our apartment. Check the lease if you don't believe me. Landlord has my name only. My bank account only. You never contributed to rent, so you were never added. Her face twisted. So what? You're just going to kick me out? Real mature. You're the one who said you were done. You handed me divorce papers and said you didn't need a husband. So yeah, you're out. You can't be serious right now. Dead serious. You left. You moved out when you said this marriage was over. That's how it works. She laughed, sharp and bitter. You're pathetic. This is exactly why I'm leaving. You can't even handle a simple conversation without being dramatic. I'm dramatic. You announced our divorce at a party and spent the whole night texting someone else. But sure, I'm the problem. Whatever. I'll just come back whenever I want. You can't stop me. Actually, I can. You don't live here anymore. If you want to come back for your things, you schedule it. 24 hours notice. That's what the law says. The law? Are you kidding me right now? Not even a little bit. You want to lawyer up and file for divorce? Fine. But you're playing by actual rules now, not just whatever you feel like doing. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. You're being completely unreasonable. No, I'm being clear. You made your choice yesterday. Now you deal with it. Call before you come back, or don't come back at all. This is insane. Where am I supposed to go? Not my problem anymore. You're the one who wanted to be done. Figure it out. She stood there with her suitcases, face red. Fine. I'll go to my friend's place until I find an apartment near the clinic. But this isn't over. Great. See you never. She walked out and slammed the door. I waited until I heard her car pull away, then went back to the bedroom. Her laptop was still sitting on the dresser, the one she'd been using for school stuff. She'd probably meant to grab it, but forgot in her hurry to make a dramatic exit. The laptop was still logged in. We'd shared passwords for years because that's what married people did. She'd never bothered changing hers. I opened it up, and the first thing I saw was her Messages app already open on the screen. The most recent conversation was with someone named Camden, a colleague from her dental school class based on the profile picture. And the messages went back 6 months. 6 months of good morning texts. Late-night conversations about difficult patients. Study session meetups that apparently involved more than studying. Plans for after graduation. Discussions about which practices they'd try to join together. And then, from 3 weeks ago, a message that made my stomach drop. Can't wait to finally be done with this. Once I'm officially divorced, we can stop sneaking around. I'm ready to start our life together. I scrolled through more messages, found photos, timestamps, detailed plans about how she'd handle the divorce announcement, how she'd keep it simple and quick so she could move on without drama, how she figured I'd just accept it and sign because I'd always been so agreeable. Then I found something else. Screenshots of bank statements she'd sent to Camden, accounts I didn't recognize, deposits from her parents, regular transfers of $2,000 every month for the past 15 months. Money I never knew about because she'd told me her parents weren't helping financially, that they wanted her to be independent. That's why I'd been covering everything. Except that was a lie. Her parents had been funding her the whole time, and instead of using it for tuition or expenses like they probably intended, she'd been stashing it away, building her own savings account while I paid rent, utilities, groceries, and her student loans. There were messages between her and Camden talking about it. Almost at $30,000 now. Plus what you've got saved, we can get a really nice place. You're playing this perfectly. He has no idea you even have that money. I know. He thinks my parents cut me off years ago. Meanwhile, I'm just stacking it while he covers everything. I grabbed my phone and started taking pictures of everything. Screenshots of messages. Photos of the bank statements showing her parents' deposits. The conversations with Camden about using the money for their future together. Then I called the lawyer I'd consulted that morning. Left a message saying I needed an emergency appointment, that I'd found evidence of infidelity and hidden assets, that this divorce was about to get a lot more complicated than my wife had planned. 2 weeks after Lauren moved out, my lawyer sent her lawyer the initial discovery request. Full financial disclosure. Bank statements from all accounts. Investment records. Credit card transactions. Everything. Plus notice that we had evidence of infidelity and were prepared to contest the divorce terms she'd proposed. Her response came within 24 hours. A panicked phone call from a number I didn't recognize. She'd ignored her lawyer's advice and called me directly. You're actually doing this? Fighting the divorce? I'm making sure it's fair. That's what you wanted, right? Everything divided fairly? You know what I meant. Just take your half and let's be done with this. My half of what? The assets you declared? Or my half of everything, including the accounts you've been hiding? Silence on the other end. She hadn't expected me to find those. Then her voice came back, harder this time. I don't know what you think you found, but you're wasting your time and money on lawyer fees. Just accept reality and move on. I hung up on her. 3 days later, someone knocked on my apartment door around 7 in the evening. I checked the peephole and saw a woman I vaguely recognized. One of my wife's friends from dental school. Not someone I knew well, but I'd seen her at a few parties. She had my address from old holiday card lists my wife kept. I opened the door. Can I help you? Hi, I need to return something your wife left in my car. Can I come in for a minute? Slovenian accent. Thick enough that some words came out clipped. I remembered now, she'd been an exchange student. Melanie. My wife had mentioned her a few times, but they'd never seemed that close. I can grab it at the door. It's kind of heavy. Just take a second. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She was dressed like she'd come from somewhere nice. Tight dress, heels, too much perfume. No box, no bag, nothing in her hands. She sat on my couch and crossed her legs in a way that seemed deliberately posed. So what did you need to return? Oh, I forget it in the car. But I want to talk to you. I feel bad about what she did. You were good husband. Very loyal. She should not treat you this way. Okay. Thanks for saying that, I guess. She leaned forward. The dress shifted in a way that definitely wasn't accidental. Started with the sympathy angle. You must be so lonely. Must be hard when someone betrays you like this. Then moved to flattery. I looked handsome. Strong. My wife was stupid to leave a man like me. I took a step back. I'm doing fine, actually. Working through the legal stuff. But you are here all by yourself. No one to make you feel better. She patted the couch next to her. We can be friends, yes? Help each other. Yeah, no. This was way too obvious. I'd been married for 6 years, not living under a rock. I knew what a setup looked like. I think you should probably go. She stood up and moved closer. Suddenly swayed on her heels like she might fall, reaching out to grab my arm. I sidestepped. She stumbled forward anyway, trying to lean into me. Oh, I feel dizzy. Can you help me? You can sit down yourself. I'll get you some water. I went to the kitchen, keeping her in my line of sight the whole time. She lowered herself onto the couch in slow motion, arranged like she was posing for a furniture catalog. Her phone was sitting on the coffee table. Screen down. Red notification light blinking like a heartbeat. When I came back with the water, she was looking up at me with what I'm sure she thought was a seductive expression. I've seen more convincing acting in a phone commercial. Thank you. You are very the gentleman. I set the water on the coffee table and stayed standing. Drink up. Then I really need you to leave. She took the glass but didn't drink. Just held it. Tried one more move. Did one more. Stood up and stepped into my space, way too close, like she was going for a hug. Are you sure you want me to leave? We could watch movie. Have nice evening together. I put my hand up, keeping distance between us. I'm very sure. She looked frustrated now. The act was slipping. Your wife will never know. It can be our secret. And there it was. The whole point of this ridiculous performance. Actually, my wife would know. Because you'd tell her. That's why you're here, isn't it? To create evidence of me cheating so she can use it in the divorce. Her face went blank for half a second. Then she tried to recover. No, you misunderstand. I just trying to be... To be what? A good friend? Is that phone on the coffee table recording right now? She glanced at it. Quick. Automatic. Caught. Then she lunged for it. I was faster. Picked it up before her hand reached the table. Want me to check if this is recording? No, give it back! She tried to grab it from my hand. She say if you touch me, you lose house, okay? But you don't touch me, so give phone back. The words tumbled out in her panic. Then her eyes went wide like she'd just realized what came out of her mouth. To me or to her? She stood up quickly. Too quickly for someone who'd been dizzy 2 minutes ago. I think maybe I should go now. Yeah, that's probably smart. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door, then paused and turned back. You know what? You are not as dumb as she think you are. Thanks. That might be the nicest thing anyone said to me all week. She left without another word. I closed the door, locked it, and checked my Ring doorbell footage. Got her arrival on camera. Timestamp. Her walking up alone in that dress and heels at 7 p.m. Her leaving 20 minutes later looking annoyed instead of dizzy. The footage didn't capture what happened inside, but it showed intent. Showed she came here for a reason that had nothing to do with returning something my wife left in her car. I called my lawyer and sent him the footage. Added it to the growing file of evidence showing my wife was willing to do whatever it took to win this divorce, including sending her friend to try to trap me into giving her ammunition. The seduction attempt was pathetic, but it told me everything I needed to know. She was scared. The discovery process was closing in on her hidden assets. The infidelity evidence had her backed into a corner, and she was desperate enough to try something this obvious and stupid, which meant I was winning. The next afternoon, I got a text from another number I didn't recognize. This is Claire. We need to talk. It's about what happened last night. Claire. I knew that name. She was the third person in my wife's usual friend group, the one who'd always seemed normal compared to the others. We'd actually gotten along at parties, had real conversations. She worked in hospital administration, not dentistry. Always seemed more grounded than the dental school crowd. Who gave you my number? I got it from your wife's phone when she wasn't looking. I know that sounds bad, but you need to hear what I have to say. Can we meet somewhere? I suggested a coffee shop near my office. Neutral territory. Public enough to be safe. She agreed immediately. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table, looking nervous. Not the kind of nervous someone trying to set you up looks. The kind of nervous someone about to betray their friend looks. I sat down across from her. So, what's this about? I need to tell you what's really going on. What they're planning. I can't be part of this anymore. It's wrong. She pulled out her phone and started scrolling. Last night, after Melanie tried to seduce you, she came back to your wife's parents' house. They were all there. Your wife, Melanie, a few others, celebrating how they thought it worked. It didn't work. I know. Melanie told them you rejected her completely. Kept your distance the whole time. Wouldn't even touch her when she faked being dizzy. Your wife was furious. She'd been so sure you'd take the bait. Claire turned her phone to show me screenshots, group chat messages, voice memos, a whole conspiracy laid out in digital evidence. They've been planning this for weeks. Melanie volunteered to try to seduce you. They figured if they could get even one compromising photo, your wife could use it to make you look bad in the divorce. Claim you'd been cheating too. Why are you telling me this? She looked down at her coffee. Because I've watched your wife treat you like garbage for years. I've seen how hard you work to support her. And this whole thing with Camden, the hiding money, now trying to frame you? It's too much. I can't pretend I don't see what's happening. You knew about Camden. Everyone knew. They all thought it was great that she'd found someone ambitious who understood her career. They kept telling her you were holding her back, that she deserved someone on her level. The coffee in my cup suddenly tasted bitter. I told her it was wrong, Claire continued, that you didn't deserve this, that she should just be honest about wanting a divorce instead of making you the villain. But she kept saying you'd try to take everything if she didn't control the narrative. So she decided to create a narrative where I'm the bad guy. Exactly. And I'm done watching it happen. I have evidence. Text messages where they're planning the whole thing. Voice memos where your wife is coaching Melanie on how to seduce you. Bank statements your wife sent to the group showing the accounts she's been hiding. All of it. She slid a flash drive across the table. Everything's on here. Dates, times, participants. Enough to prove she's been deliberately trying to sabotage you in this divorce. I picked up the flash drive. It felt heavier than it should have. Why now? Why not earlier? Because I didn't realize how far she'd take it until Melanie came back bragging about her attempt. They were laughing about it, making jokes about how you probably haven't been with anyone else in years, so you'd be easy to manipulate. It made me sick. She met my eyes. Your wife has become someone I don't recognize. Someone I don't want to be friends with anymore. And you deserve to know the truth about what you're fighting against. She's going to know you gave me this. I know. I'm prepared for that. I'd rather lose a friend than watch someone destroy a decent person for no reason other than convenience. I thanked her and left. Took the flash drive straight to my lawyer's office. He loaded it up and we spent 2 hours going through everything. The conspiracy to frame me. The group chat messages celebrating my wife's affair. The bank documents proving she'd hidden money specifically to keep it from being divided in the divorce. This changes everything, my lawyer said. With this evidence, we can prove fraud, infidelity, and attempted evidence tampering. She's not just going to lose the upper hand in this divorce. She's going to lose badly. He paused while scrolling through more messages. There's something else here you should see. Messages between your wife and Camden from about 3 months ago. She's telling him about your medical history, specifics that she shouldn't have access to anymore. When did you last authorize her to view your records? Years ago, back when we were still pretending the marriage worked. There's something else here. She told Camden about a prescription you filled last month. Not your whole medical record, just a controlled substance lookup. She's registered on the state PDMP through her dental license, and she searched your name to see if you were on anything that could look bad in court. You weren't her patient. That's illegal PDMP misuse and a HIPAA-level privacy violation. That evening, Claire texted me again. She knows. I told her I gave you the evidence. She's threatening to sue me, ruin my reputation, get me fired. Typical. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Don't be. I made my choice. Some things are more important than keeping fake friends happy. 3 days later, my lawyer filed an amended response to the divorce petition. Included evidence of the affair, evidence of hidden assets, evidence of attempted fraud and conspiracy to create false evidence. The whole thing. My wife's lawyer called for an emergency meeting, said his client wanted to settle, that we could work something out without going to trial. My lawyer's response was simple. Your client had a chance to be honest from the start. She chose fraud and conspiracy instead. We'll see her in court. The discovery process turned into a nightmare for her. Every account she'd tried to hide had to be disclosed. Every dollar she'd moved around had to be explained. Every lie she'd told about what was marital property came apart under legal scrutiny. Camden, her affair partner, suddenly wanted nothing to do with the situation. His text from Discovery told the story. She even posted screenshots of his messages on social media. When my wife told him about the divorce getting complicated, he'd responded with, "This is exactly why I don't do drama." When she asked him to testify about their relationship timeline, he wrote back, "I'm not getting involved in your legal issues. I thought you had this handled." The final message before he blocked her was the best part. "Look, I thought you were going to be a successful dentist with her life together. This whole fraud and conspiracy thing isn't what I signed up for. I need to focus on my career. Good luck with everything." Guy saw a dentist's wife as an accessory. When the accessory came with legal baggage, he bounced. My wife had thrown away 6 years of marriage for someone who couldn't handle 6 months of inconvenience. The comment section tore her apart. People she went to dental school with started chiming in. Someone posted screenshots of her own messages to Camden where she'd called me useless and talked about how much money she'd hidden. Another person shared the court documents showing the fraud charges. Within a week, her entire online presence imploded. Meanwhile, Claire and I started talking more. Not about the divorce at first, just normal conversations. She'd tell me about her terrible day at work. I'd share stories about my increasingly ridiculous legal battles. It was easy, comfortable, nothing forced or calculated. "I keep thinking about how you stayed calm through all of this," she said one evening over dinner. We'd started meeting up regularly. Friend stuff, support during a difficult time. Giving her the anger she expected wasn't going to help me. Documentation and lawyers helped me. That's very mature of you. Or very calculated. I'm honestly not sure which. She laughed. It was a good sound. Real. Nothing like the fake laughter I'd gotten used to over 6 years. We weren't dating. Not technically. But something was developing. Something that felt natural instead of forced. The divorce took 6 months to finalize. 6 months of depositions, document reviews, and increasingly desperate settlement offers from my wife's lawyer. Every offer I refused. Every attempt at negotiation I turned down. She'd wanted to do this through lawyers and courts. So that's exactly what we were doing. The judge was not impressed with her behavior, the hidden assets, the affair that started during the marriage, the attempted setup with Melanie, the conspiracy to create false evidence. All of it laid out in official court documents with Claire's testimony providing the final nail. When the judgment came down, it was better than my lawyer had predicted. I got the apartment, the car, 60% of the joint assets because the judge ruled her hidden accounts were marital property she'd attempted to conceal. Plus, I was awarded a significant portion of the money she'd diverted into those secret accounts over the years. She sat in that courtroom looking like someone had physically hit her. Her lawyer kept whispering to her, probably telling her this was the best she could do at this point. That fighting further would only make things worse. Camden had stopped showing up to court appearances 3 months in. Probably decided a woman willing to commit fraud in divorce proceedings wasn't worth the drama. My wife had texted him hundreds of times based on what came out in Discovery. He'd blocked her on everything, even changed his phone number. After the final hearing, I walked out of that courthouse feeling lighter than I had in years. Not because I'd won money or assets, but because I was finally, legally, completely free of someone who treated me like an ATM with a pulse. Claire was waiting outside. She'd taken the afternoon off to be there for moral support. Not as a witness this time, just as someone who cared about how things turned out. How'd it go? It's over. Finally over. She hugged me right there on the courthouse steps. Nothing romantic, just genuine happiness that I'd made it through. We got dinner that night, made plans for a weekend hiking trip she'd been suggesting, agreed to check out that new art exhibit she'd been wanting to see. So what now? She asked over dessert. Now I figure out who I am outside of that marriage. Build a life that's actually mine. Sounds like a good plan. You want to be part of it? The building part, I mean. She smiled. The kind of smile that made everything clear without words. Yeah, I think I'd like that. We took it slow. Neither of us was in a hurry. 3 months after the divorce finalized, we made it official. Started actually dating. 6 months after that, she moved into my apartment, the place my ex-wife had claimed she deserved. It felt right having Claire there. My ex-wife, meanwhile, was dealing with consequences she'd never anticipated. The dental clinic where she'd started her practice launched an investigation after someone anonymously reported a HIPAA violation. Turned out she'd been accessing my medical records throughout the divorce, using patient systems to gather information she thought might help her case. Using patient records for personal reasons wasn't just unethical, it was illegal. The clinic suspended her, started formal proceedings, she lost her associate position, got put on probation. The dental community was small. Word spread. Her reputation took a hit she'd probably never recover from. The irony was perfect. She'd spent 6 years working toward a dental career, then torpedoed it by violating the most basic ethical rules of the profession. All because she couldn't accept that I'd moved on. Camden had moved to a different clinic. Different city, different life. Probably telling some new woman about his drama-free existence while carefully editing out the part where he'd helped destroy someone's marriage. My ex had called me once during this period, 6 months after the divorce finalized. I'd unblocked her number by then because I genuinely didn't care anymore. I made a mistake, a huge mistake. Everything's falling apart. I need help. That's unfortunate. Good luck with everything. I hung up, blocked the number again, moved on with my day. Claire asked who it was. I told her. She nodded and changed the subject to dinner plans. That's when I knew I'd truly moved past it all. My ex-wife's problems weren't mine anymore. Her crisis didn't create obligation. Her regret didn't create opportunity for reconciliation. She was just someone I used to know who'd made bad choices. A year after the divorce, I proposed to Claire. Nothing fancy, just the two of us on a weekend hiking trip. The same trail where we'd first hung out as friends during the worst of the legal battle. She said yes before I finished asking. We planned the wedding for 8 months out. Small ceremony. Close friends and family. The people who'd actually supported us, instead of pretending to care while plotting behind our backs. My ex-wife had lost most of her friend group. Claire leaving had started a chain reaction. Other people realized they didn't want to be associated with someone who'd committed fraud, cheated, and violated patient privacy. The dental school crowd scattered. Melanie had apparently moved back to Slovenia. Something about visa issues. Definitely nothing to do with her attempting to help frame someone in divorce proceedings. The wedding planning was easy. Claire knew what she wanted. I knew what I didn't want. We compromised on everything that mattered and didn't sweat the details that didn't. The wedding day went smoothly. Claire looked incredible. The venue was exactly what we'd wanted. Our families were happy. Friends were celebrating with genuine joy instead of obligatory attendance. I was standing at the front with my best man, watching guests file in and take their seats. Claire's sister, the maid of honor, was helping seat people. The coordinator was checking last-minute details. Everything running smoothly. Then I saw her, my ex-wife, walking up the path from the parking lot, wearing what looked like a cocktail dress she'd probably thrown on in her car. Hair not quite right. Makeup done, but not done well. She looked like someone who'd gotten ready in a hurry and regretted it halfway through. I caught the coordinator's eye and nodded toward the parking lot. She followed my gaze, saw what I saw, and immediately headed in that direction. The security guys I'd hired noticed the movement and fell into step behind her. Meanwhile, guests kept arriving, taking their seats, chatting with neighbors, completely unaware that drama was approaching from the west entrance. The coordinator reached my ex-wife before she made it to the ceremony area. I couldn't hear the conversation from where I stood, but I could see the body language. Coordinator standing firm, security flanking, my ex-wife gesturing dramatically. Then she pushed past them, just straight up ignored the coordinator and walked around the security guys like they were invisible. headed straight for the aisle between the chairs. Guests were starting to notice. Conversations dying down. People turning to look. She made it about 6 steps before the security guys caught up. Each took an arm. Not rough, but definitely firm. She tried to pull away. That's when her heel caught on the edge of the aisle runner. She went down hard, hands and knees. The cocktail dress rode up in a way that was more tragic than dramatic. Her purse spilled across the aisle. Lipstick, tissues, phone, everything scattering. For about 3 seconds, the entire venue was silent. Everyone just staring at this woman on her hands and knees in the middle of the aisle. Then she started crying. Not quiet, dignified tears. Full-on sobbing. Makeup running. Nose running. The kind of crying that makes your whole face turn red and blotchy. "Wait," she called out, still on her knees. "You can't do this. We're supposed to be together. This is wrong. Everything is wrong." I just stood there. Didn't move. Didn't speak. Just watched this person I used to know have a complete meltdown at my wedding. Claire's sister whispered from beside me. "Want me to handle this?" Security's got it. The security guys were trying to help her up. She kept pulling away, making it harder for everyone. Guests were recording on their phones now. This was going to be on social media within the hour. "I'm a dentist," she shouted at no one in particular. "You can't treat me like this. I have a right to be here." To explain. To make him understand. The venue coordinator, God bless her, walked calmly over and said in a voice that carried across the garden, "Ma'am, this isn't your practice. You can't just walk in here uninvited." A few people laughed. Couldn't help themselves. The line was too perfect. My ex-wife finally let the security guys help her up. She was still crying. Mascara streaked down her face. Hair falling out of whatever style she'd attempted. She looked directly at me. "I made a mistake. I lost everything. My career, my friends, everything. You were the only good thing I had, and I threw it away. Please, just give me 5 minutes to explain." "No." That's all I said. Just no. Not angry. Not emotional. Just a simple refusal to engage. "You have to listen to me. You loved me. I know you loved me. That doesn't just go away." Claire appeared from behind me, walked down the aisle in her wedding dress, stopped about 6 feet from my ex-wife, didn't say anything, just stood there looking absolutely perfect and completely unbothered. My ex-wife's face crumpled. The reality of what she was witnessing seemed to hit her all at once. This wasn't some dramatic movie scene where the groom realizes his mistake and runs back to his true love. This was a woman watching the life she could have had if she hadn't nuked everything. "Her?" my ex-wife said, looking at Claire. "You chose her? She was my friend. How could you both do this to me?" Claire's voice was calm, almost kind. "You did this to yourself. We gave you multiple chances to do the right thing. You chose fraud, lies, and betrayal every single time. I was scared, overwhelmed. I made mistakes. You made choices," I said. "And this is where those choices led you. Security, please escort her out." The security guys started walking her back down the aisle. She was still crying, still trying to pull away, still calling my name. Guests were silent now, watching this train wreck unfold in real time. As they reached the edge of the ceremony area, one of my groomsmen, Nolan from way back, loud whispered to the guy next to him, "Man, he really dodged a bullet there." More laughter from guests who heard. My ex-wife heard it too, turned to glare at Nolan, which made her trip again. Caught herself this time, but it looked equally ridiculous. The security guys got her to the parking lot. The coordinator followed to make sure she actually left. Claire walked back to where she'd been waiting to make her entrance. Gave me a small smile that said everything was fine. Best wedding gift I could have asked for. My ex-wife showed up just long enough to prove I'd made the right choice twice. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.